You know, for the longest time, being a jack of all trades, that was your superpower, right? But what if I told you that in this new age of AI, that very strength could actually be your biggest liability? The rules are changing, and they're changing fast. So let's get right into it.
So, the whole idea we're digging into today kicks off with this really provocative phrase, the betrayal of the all rounder. I mean, think about that. It's talking about those people, the ones who are the versatile backbone of any team, and it's saying they're facing a huge crisis. The thing that used to be the safest bet career wise, yeah, that's suddenly become the absolute riskiest.
And that really brings us to the core question we have to ask ourselves. I mean, look at your own career. If your value is built on being versatile, on being able to do a little bit of everything, is that strength about to flip and become your biggest weakness? Well, let's find out. Okay, so let's get into the first big idea here, the generalist's great betrayal. You remember the buzz around T-shaped talent, right? Someone with a whole bunch of skills but one really deep specialty. That was the gold standard for the last decade? But now, that safe harbor, it's turned into a really dangerous place. We're going to break down exactly how this happened.
So, who exactly are we talking about here? Let's define our terms. We're talking about the intermediate generalist. You know this person. Maybe this is you. You can write some copy, you can whip up a decent design, maybe you can even dabble in a bit of code. But here's the kicker. You can do a little of everything, but there isn't one single thing you can do so much better than an AI can now do in literally seconds. And this right here, this is the heart of the problem. If your whole value proposition is based on the variety of tasks you can do, well, you've just walked into a price war with AI. And spoiler alert, it is a war you absolutely cannot win.
I mean, think about the old logic, right? The common wisdom was, if you're a UI designer who can also write good copy, you're more valuable. You're saving the company from hiring another person. Well, that entire line of reasoning is now completely, utterly broken. The belief that having a wide range of skills means job security, that's what we're now calling the great delusion. And if you want to see the brutal math of that price war, here it is. $20. For about $20 a month, a company can hire what's basically a super high-performance generalist in the form of an AI. It can write, it can design, it can code. It does all those things you do, but it does them instantly. So you can see why the market is starting to ask a really uncomfortable question. Why are we paying you a full salary for this?
So let's just lay it out, side by side. The human versus the AI. It takes you years to learn all this stuff. AI gets it in seconds. You need a full salary. AI is a cheap monthly subscription. You're slower, AI is instant. I mean, the conclusion is pretty stark, right? If you are competing purely on getting tasks done, on execution, that battle is already over. So what's the takeaway here? It's that the game has completely changed. It's not about doing the work anymore. It's not about being the hand that connects things, passing a file from one person to the next. The value has made a huge shift. It's now all about the eye that decides. It's about having the strategic brain that can make the tough calls, the critical judgments.
And this little table just perfectly lays out the pivot you need to make. On one side, you've got the dangerous generalist. What do? They focus on execution, they relay information, they just do tasks. And you know what? They have no real power. But now, look at the other side, the surviving generalist. Their focus is totally different. It's on judgment, on creating new context, on deciding the path forward. They have what are called trade-off decision rights. That's the real power, the authority to make the tough calls. That's where the new safety is. Okay, so picture this. A company starts bringing in AI. What happens to the team? Well, the junior employees, they get trained up as AI natives, and their productivity just explodes. The senior people, their job is to judge what the AI spits out and to take ultimate responsibility. So who gets squeezed? It's that middle layer, right? The intermediate generalists. All their little ambiguous tasks, poof, they get automated. They are, by far, the most vulnerable group in this whole shift. All right, so that was a little doom and gloom, I know, but it is absolutely not hopeless. So now, let's shift gears and talk about the solution. It's time to get into how you can actually level up and evolve. There are 3 key strategies we're going to walk through. Okay, here are the big 3. Number 1, develop your spike. That's one area where you are just excellent. Number 2, become an orchestrator, not just a doer. And number 3, learn to synthesize knowledge, don't just collect it. So let's start with that first one, the spike. Look, being broad is fine. It's not a bad thing in itself. But you have to have what's being called a spike. Think of it like an iceberg. You need that massive, deep part underwater. This is your one killer skill, your one area of true expertise where you can look anyone in the eye and say, at this, I am definitively better than any AI. Once you have that spike, suddenly all that broad knowledge you have, it stops being a liability and turns into a powerful support weapon for your core skill.
All right, strategy number 2 is all about a mindset shift. You have to stop trying to do everything yourself. Instead, start thinking of AI as your ultimate subcontractor. Seriously, your new job isn't to be the one doing the work, it's to be the orchestrator. You're the director, the project leader who manages a whole team of AIs to pull off massive projects you could never, ever handle alone. You bring the vision and they bring the raw execution.
Okay, this last one is a little more subtle, but it is so, so important. Don't just add skills. Like, I know design and I also know marketing. That's just addition. 1 + 1 = 2. What you need to do is synthesize them. You need to fuse them together to create something totally new. Your 1 + 1 shouldn't just equal 2. It needs to equal something brand new, something valuable, something the market looks at and goes, wow, we can't get that anywhere else.
So, there you have it. We've looked at the problem and we've laid out a path forward. As we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom out and look at the big picture. What this is all about is moving beyond being just average and saying goodbye once and for all to the idea that being a jack of all trades is a safe bet.
And this brings us to a final thought from our source material that is just so powerful. In the age of AI, ordinariness is a sin. Now, why is that? Think about it. AI has been trained on the sum total of humanity's average, ordinary data. So by its very nature, it's optimized to give you average, ordinary results. The second you settle for being just pretty good at a bunch of different things, you've essentially become a less efficient version of an AI. So I want to leave you with one final critical question to really think about. Take a hard look at your skills, that whole range of things you can do. Are you using that breadth just to fill in gaps, to do a bunch of miscellaneous tasks? Or are you using that breadth to make fundamentally better, smarter, more informed decisions? Because honestly, the answer to that question, well, that's what's going to determine your future in this new world.